Texas has a long way to go. Now, here was the most demoralizing thing about the performance from the Longhorns in their loss on the road at the Florida Gators. They got completely pushed around. And those things don't get fixed during the season very often. Now, the biggest thing is that this Texas offensive line, for example, and yes, a lot of new players, right, coming into this year, and it was a question mark for Texas this season. Like, we knew that they had good personnel on defense at all three levels. We knew they had really good personnel at wide receiver. We knew they were going to have skill. We thought Arch Manning was going to be really good. The question mark on offense was at the offensive line, and they got kind of exposed in this game. And the other thing is that this was Florida without a couple of their best players. If Florida had all hands on deck, what would it have looked like for Texas's offensive line in that situation? I mean, Texas offensive line got absolutely manhandled this game. Here's the good news. They had chances. They just missed them. The best example, the double pass. Probably the best example of the entire game. Down 19-7, they got a guy wide open behind the defense, overthrow, right? Now, offensively, let's start there. The offensive line's performance was abysmal. I can't even begin to tell you they got pushed around. They couldn't ever really establish the run. Arch Manning was under duress from start to finish. He was getting hit over and over. Even when he was able to deliver the ball, it was still getting hit or having to move in the pocket. The offensive line, they have a lot of issues. And they got to get those things resolved quickly. Because guess what? It does not get much easier. The team that's coming up next week against the Longhorns, they can get after the quarterback as well, if not better, than the team they just played this past Saturday. So the offensive line, biggest disappointment by far of the day for the Texas Longhorns. Here's the good news. A lot of people will look at Arch Manning's performance and say, yeah, that wasn't good, or he threw 2 picks, or he did this, he did that. I got to be honest with you guys, watching it from a quarterback's perspective, he battled in this game. He played better in this game than he has at any point of the season. He actually threw the ball pretty well, especially considering how many hits he took and how he was under pressure the entire game. Yeah, he had a couple misses. Like, he had a big miss to Mosley with about 4 minutes left in the second quarter that would have made it 17-14. However, on that throw, he had to move and evade 2 would-be defenders that were about to sack him. He had about half second to be able to locate and deliver that football. So yeah, it was a miss and it could have changed the game for sure. But if he would have had a clean pocket, he probably makes that throw. On the first interception, he anticipated the throw. It was just a little bit high and the receiver never located. On the second interception, it was an incredible play by the defender. He's trying to throw a deep ball. It looked like he was going to be on target. The defender goes up, undercuts it, makes a great play. You got to tip your cap sometimes. But if you look at how he had to move in the pocket, how he released the ball, there's actually been growth made by Arch Manning. That was his best game. And while the numbers won't necessarily reflect that, if your quarterback plays like that and you can get improved play along the line of scrimmage, you're going to have a chance. The problem is they never had one because the offensive line was so abysmal. The defense, the D-line's supposed to be a strength, right? Well, they were kind of a non-factor. Now, it took them a little while. In the final 20 minutes of the game, they started to get it going a little bit, but the damage had been done at that point. And the secondary had not been the group that had given up a lot of big plays. And they gave up a handful in this game to Wilson and to VB3. The DB falling down on the 55-yarder is unfortunate. But overall, this is a very dangerous Florida team with a coach that was sitting there on the hot seat. And they took the fight to Texas. And I think right now, Texas, their season's a bit on the brink. You got the Red River rivalry coming up next week. You can get it all back if you go and take care of business in that game. But it's a must-win 1 week from now. The other angle of this is, how does this impact Ohio State? Ohio State's signature win was against Texas. Now Texas is kind of unraveling. Does that have a bit of a trickle-down effect? So Texas, they got a lot of things to iron out, and they got to get it ironed out quickly because it will not get easier from here. It will only get tougher.